G'day. This week, oh what a week. I've driven from the Murray all the way up to Balranald. Now I used Balranald as my base to scoot up to Mungo National Park, which is absolutely outstanding. If you can, there's 2 companies you can choose to do the tour with. My preferred option would be the Indigenous guy. They really turn it on. Watch out for that one. And then from there down to Grenfell and scooting across to Bathurst and finally here in Sydney. So hope you find it fun. Let's go. Good morning, top of the morning to you, still in Victoria, and I've needed to call into this little town, not that small, but a really lovely little town, and the accommodation here for the camping is absolutely free. They insist, no. So that was pretty cool. Got a little bit wet in the last couple of days, but that's fine. It's still a little bit cold, currently 7 degrees. So I'm going to fuel up, water up, do all those other bits and bobs, and then head to Swan Hill. Here's some great news. Just out of Kerang, from where I was staying at the racecourse, there's actually a dump point and toilets and shower. But it's not really well publicised, and it's almost like a guarded secret. It actually is meant for truckies, but they're happy for caravanners and campers to come and use the shower. One single shower. It's a little bit, well, it's trucky. It's a trucky shower. So make certain you've got your thongs and half close your eyes while you're washing, because it's not the best, it's not the Hilton. But the other thing is, I'm pretty sure the heat of the water is coming in from the solar. So you might want to have your shower sort of, you know, mid-morning or no later than maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a winter's day. And during summer, who cares? But what a little luxury. So I'm just going to use the dump point, so I'm sure you don't want to see that. G'day, top of the morning to you. Well, I'm walking by the beautiful Murray River and I'm in a place called Nyah, which is about 25 kilometres away from Swan Hill. Yesterday was a pretty eventful day. I had to end up buying a new battery for the car, so that kept me busy because of all the places that in Australia that they can fit it, in Victoria there's only 2 places that won't fit it, and that's where I was yesterday. So I fitted the battery myself, and the car's still there. There's no smoke coming out of it, so that's a plus. And I'm pretty sure most of the things work, which is even better. A bit fresh this morning, but again, as I keep saying, it is the middle of winter. The fact it's not raining, it's a real plus.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in old conversations. Cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me wrong. I was so mistaken. Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
I'm driving on my way to Swan Hill. I'm getting quite close, and I saw a little sign that said home of the Catalina. So I'm in a place called Lake Boga. Apparently what happened was when Darwin was attacked by the Japanese, they destroyed lots and lots of Catalina aircraft. So what they decided was they had a meeting, the Air Force guys had a meeting, and they decided they needed to repair and maintain and do all the servicing of the Catalinas, but they can't leave them up in Broome because they've been harm's way. So what they decided was to bring them all the way across here to Lake Boga. Who'd have thought? So that's why that's here, and this is in Lake Boga. They did all of the repairs and maintenance and everything of these Catalinas. Now these Catalinas, as you can see, the dummies that are made up there are pretty much a human size. You see it's a pretty big aircraft, and initially they were just for landing, taking off and landing on the water. There was a small handful were made that could land on the tarmac and on the water, but generally they would land on the water only, and they would put special wheels, and tractor would tow them out if they needed to get the aircraft back on land. These things are massive. I was here 7 years ago, and they had some signs up here, but they're no longer here. But basically this animal did exist way back in the day. We're talking way back. This, and they also had apparently giant kangaroos and all sorts of things. So I'm in a place called Mungo. I'm just about to do my own tour of the Great Wall. If you get a chance, try and book into the National Park one, and you can do a tour with them, and you'll have an Indigenous guy take you on the tour. There is another commercial one just up the road if you can't get onto that, and that's through the Mungo Lodge. So 2 different choices. I'm at Mungo National Park, and here is the walls of China. So I'm doing a self-walking thing. You can normally drive around the perimeter. However, I've just found when I got to the gate, it's closed. Never mind. And I also found out that there was a tour fully booked today and tomorrow. That's with a private company, and with the Indigenous people. They had a booking, and I could have tagged on, but the people never turned up. So, and that, if you can book into that, I did that 7 years ago. It's outstanding. It is really, really good. So you just have to bear with me, and I'll try and tell you as much as I can about the walls of China. Here is a brief history on the Mungo Lunette and the Wall of China. Basically what happened in 1967, a guy called Jim Fowler, who was a scientist, came out and was doing some investigation about the whole area. And in 1968, he noticed some bones. It looks like they were human bones that had been burnt. He took them, and with some other guys, took it back to the university. They did some investigation. It turned out it was human bone. That was all very exciting, so they called that Mungo Man. In 1974, same guy, Jim Fowler, was out here doing some more investigation, and he found, after some heavy rain, he found what was quite a white-looking, perhaps bone. Had a look at it and dug it up, and turned out to be another human body from way back when. In fact, from way back when was 40,000 years ago. They dated this particular body, and they called that Mungo Man. So there you have Mungo Lady, Mungo Man, and it also tells us that there were people living here 40,000 years ago, so they had to go back and rewrite some of the history of when Aboriginals and Indigenous people in fact were living in Australia in this area. Just over my shoulder you can hopefully see some of the landscape. You can also see the path going up to a basically dead end where a gate can be opened. Now if you're on the tour, you have the privilege of going through that gate and with the guided tour roaming around and looking at some of the beautiful artefacts and the history of it, and the guide will tell you a whole lot more about it than I can tell you. So if you get the opportunity, please try and make it happen. Apparently our earliest archaeological records of Aboriginals living in this area was 45,000 years ago, and at that point this lake was 15 metres deep, and in those times there was an abundant amount of sea fish, so that's how the Aboriginals lived in this particular area. Well, there you have it. I always say there you have it. I don't even know why I say it. Anywho, that was the week that was. Probably a bit longer than a week. And I did take, do some scooting in the kilometres. You don't need to do it so quickly. I was trying to get back to a special person's birthday. managed to get there in time, which is great. Some great things to check out on that trip. And now back in Sydney, staying at there's only two places to stay in Sydney really, for you can either stay down the northern beaches or you can stay in the kind of central Lake Boga National Park. I've opted for the beaches, and that's where I'm now. Anywho, hope you found the video useful, helpful and or entertaining, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, I beg of you to subscribe. And until next time, this is 4-Wheel Drive signing off.